you're Tennessee, it's been a little bit of an interesting year. Because going into the year, what was the talking point? Hey, 2022 offense, baby, we're back. Last year, a little bump in the road. All right, Joe Milton, it was probably a collection of errors as to why he didn't have the success you wanted him to have going into that season. It is what it is. But this year now you got Nico Iamaleava. You got the stable of receivers. Like, okay, hey, here we go, baby. 40 points a game incoming. And this season right now, at least, like Nico Iamaleava hasn't been atrocious, but like he hasn't thrown for over 200 yards against any SEC team. Your offense hasn't scored more than 30 against any SEC team. And that's after you started the year so hot where you're like 70-piecing all these G5 operations. So you're like, whoa, this isn't what we expected, but you're still a top 10 team in America. And so I think the thing that we need to settle on here, if you're Tennessee, maybe this isn't what you wanted before the year started. Maybe this isn't what you had desired offensively and from Nico to this point in the year. But guess what? I think it's what you need. We'll talk about that right now. Make sure you're subscribed right here to the On3 YouTube channel. Got a lot of y'all tuned in live. We appreciate you for that. If you haven't yet subscribed, now's the time. But we talk college football, only college football, and we're live 3 times a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern. So again, I think it's maybe not what you wanted if you're a Tennessee fan, but I do think it's a lot of what you need. And it's interesting now because with Tennessee being top 10, why are they able to be top 10 with the offense, let's call a spade here, underachieving relative to expectations and relative to what Josh Heupel has done since getting to Knoxville? Y'all, what's the line of scrimmage team right now? And if you're Tennessee, the conversation around them, it's so funny, was always, well, if they can, stack up in the trenches, if they can get those dudes up front to be able to compete with the Georgias and the Alabamas consistently, like Tennessee's going to have a chance now. And the offense, again, isn't what it typically will be, I think, over the course of Josh Heupel's time in Knoxville. But, like, make no mistake, the trenches now are what you had been building towards since Josh Heupel got there. Like, we kept talking about trying to compensate for the trenches. The trenches right now are compensating for everything else. And I'm not telling you the offensive line is perfect right now, but like the last 2 years against Alabama, in both the win over Alabama in 22 and the loss to Alabama in 2023, Bama went for over 100 yards. This past Saturday, when Tennessee once again rushed Neyland and had a good time, I'm sure, that entire Saturday night, Bama ran for less than 75 yards. Okay? That is the new Tennessee. And some of that you credit to Tim Banks, some of that you credit to Heupel and the way they built the roster. I think it's everything. I think, quite frankly, it's the lifestyle change that we've seen Tennessee be working towards since Josh Heupel got there. And we said the same thing about previous outfits over the course of the season, but I think the same thing is true about Tennessee. Like, it wasn't just a trend for a little bit. It wasn't just we'll try and recruit defense to go with our offense. It was, no, like, we philosophically are deciding we are going to make this change to recruit the trenches at a certain level to play at the standard that we expect in Knoxville, Tennessee. Like, whenever you have friends that just kind of go on a diet and it's like, maybe that'll last for a week, maybe a month if they're really dialed in and it's January and they got a lot of motivation and they've read Atomic Habits and all that. This is a lifestyle change. This is like, no, this is who we are. This is who we're going to be here. And I think that's so important, going back to want versus need. If you're going to make a run in the college football playoff, if you're going to be a team that nationally competes for what you want to compete for, this is the non-negotiable. Like, you go to TSA and you try to get through security with no ID, you can't fly. Same deal with the college football playoff. You get in the college football playoff, 12 teams, you show up with no line of scrimmage, you play Penn State, you get ragdolled. Okay, and that's who Andy Staples has you playing right now in his projection after week 8 of the college football season for the playoff. That's how it would go. And it's great to be able to throw the ball deep, and I think ultimately to win a national championship, yes, you got to be able to score over 30 a game. Like, I think that's pretty fair to say. But, like, the line of scrimmage is what you need to actually get into the dance, to compete with the Bamas like you did, to compete with the Georgias. Like, that is the key ingredient here. And I think for the first time now in Knoxville, especially on the defensive side, they have that. Now, the offensive line, are there some things you're still working out? Sure. Is the depth exactly where you want it to be? Probably not yet. But Dylan Sampson's still a walking 100-yard game. Still ran for over 5 yards a carry against Bama. Like, what you're doing in the trenches offensively on the ground, that's going to be good enough. And so the thing that I think should be exciting if you're Tennessee, I think the offense, at least the passing game, is nowhere near a finished product. Like, we keep on wanting to just define Nico so early and try and hype up what he is, but like, let's be real. It's his first year being a starting quarterback in the SEC. I keep saying this. This stuff is hard. This is not like an easy just walk out there. You had a red shirt, cool, so you should be good to go. The red shirt definitely helps. And I think a lot of the Joe Milton truthers now for a while are probably feeling some validation, so that is what it is. But again, this is still a Josh Heupel offense. This is still an outfit that is going to have some plays vertically. And once they get in rhythm, once Nico does get his sea legs, I think at that point it's fair to expect some pretty good dividends offensively. Because that's the thing here now. I don't think you can say Nico is anywhere near a finished product. But I would say the game against Alabama, there's some moments now where, and this is kind of cliche, but we'll go with it. You hear a lot about light bulb moments where things just sort of make sense for people and for football players, for quarterbacks specifically. I'm not so sure that the second half of that game against Bama, with the deep shot to Thornton, connecting on that, the touch pass to Brazel that proved to be the game winner, I'm not so sure that those aren't the light bulb moments for Nico Iamaleava. Because he could always do it. Like, I mean, I'll tell you this. I saw with my own two eyes him hit multiple deep shots during spring practice. We went out there to Knoxville this past spring. I saw it with my own eyes. We know he can do it. But to do it in a game, to do it in that situation with those kind of stakes in a rivalry game against Bama, college football playoff implications, also just rivalry emotion being baked in there, like you wonder if performing in that moment isn't sort of the straw that breaks the camel's back, the raindrop that kind of causes this whole thing to storm. So for Nico Iamaleava, again, I think his best football is still very much so ahead of him. I think it'd be irresponsible to assume otherwise. But what you have right now on this roster, the way that you're playing, line of scrimmage football defensively, running the ball with Dylan Sampson, is it everything you wanted preseason? Is it the 40 points a game? No. But is it what you need in this 12-team deal? I think so.